Is Donald Trump dead? No, but these guys definitely are. The US is going to war with Venezuela's Narco-State. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Before we begin, I just want to thank all of you. Engagement has exploded ever since I asked you to leave a comment with the American flag emoji. I'm talking a couple of hundred comments an episode to thousands. That's a huge help with the algorithm, so keep going. And while you're down there, be sure to subscribe because YouTube has probably secretly unsubscribed you. So after days of rumors that the president was dying, Trump held a press conference. It wasn't anything too crazy, for Trump anyway. First, he told us that rumors of his death were greatly exaggerated. That whatever this is was an AI-generated fake. And that he'd be sending the National Guard to curb violence in the, quote, hellhole that is Chicago. Like I said, pretty normal for Trump. But then he dropped this bombshell.
We just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. And there's more where that came from.
Soon after, Trump posted a video to Truth Social showing the attack. In the attached post, Trump identified it as a kinetic strike against the gang Tren de Aragua, a designated terrorist organization which he claims is operating under the control of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. 11 were killed. And Trump reiterated that this should serve as a warning to anyone even thinking of bringing drugs into the United States, capping off the post with the words, "Beware!" and the classic, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." Whoa, 11 exclamation points. Is that one for every person killed? Do you want order in Venezuela? Maduro must step down and turn himself in. Oh, and every day he doesn't, I add another exclamation point, starting tonight. I'm a man of my word. Now, some liberal commentators are saying this strike was somehow illegal and that drug trafficking is a crime, not an act of war. And Maduro, for his part, called the U.S. naval presence in the area the greatest threat to the continent in a century and promised to declare arms if attacked. What do you think the war on drugs meant? Vibes? Essays? It seems the U.S. is done fighting the war on drugs as a police action and is now fighting it like a war. Instead of sending the Coast Guard to try and arrest smugglers,
we're just gonna kill them!
Now, this may seem like a pretty rash move, but historically there are some parallels. In the 1980s, cities like Miami were awash in Colombian cocaine, and a lot of it came in by way of small aircraft called narco planes. But while this resulted in excellent shows like Miami Vice, the US government decided this was a problem. So they started tracking any planes that were flying close to the water with their lights off, and even helped countries like Peru and Colombia shoot them down. Though it might be important to clear something up. Is Tren de Aragua really acting on behalf of the Venezuelan government? Do Trump's claims hold water? At least better than that boat did. Well, according to a partially declassified memo from the National Intelligence Council, Nicolas Maduro is probably not directing Tren de Aragua. Now, this may be technically correct. After all, Tren de Aragua is basically a glorified prison gang, not really up to par with the big state-sponsored cartels. However, the White House has accused Maduro of leading the Cartel de los Soles, or Cartel of the Suns, which uses Tren de Aragua to carry out its drug and weapons trafficking. The Suns cartel is made up of Venezuelan military officers and politicians, and they are no joke. In 2020, one of Maduro's allies in the Suns cartel was charged with narco-terrorism by a court in New York, having sought support from Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Colombian communist insurgency FARC. He was also photographed next to troops loyal to former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, whose regime also made billions in the drug business. And a year before that, another high-ranking Venezuelan narco, El Pollo, or the Chicken, was arrested in Spain over similar charges of drug trafficking and weapons charges. He, too, had worked with Colombia's communist paramilitaries along with Mexican syndicates. The U.S. has even posted a bounty for Maduro himself, calling him one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world. So clearly, Venezuela's regime is in deep with the cartels. But it's not just America and its regional allies that have to worry. Venezuela's state-backed gangs also terrorize Venezuela's people. The regime uses colectivos, pro-government paramilitary-style groups, many of which operate as armed motorcycle gangs to crack down on dissent. In 2017, they stormed the National Assembly, beating opposition members with pipes while the police looked on. In 2019, the colectivos violently fought to block an aid convoy from Colombia sent to help Venezuelans facing starvation as the country's economy collapsed. The gangs then fired on protesters, killing at least 4, with hundreds injured. The point I'm trying to make is the Venezuelan regime isn't just employing criminals. Venezuela itself is a sort of mafia state, one that's creating terror not just in Venezuela, but in America and around the world. So when Trump blows up a Venezuelan drug boat, it's not just some war on drugs. It's an attack on Maduro's regime. Will this eventually lead to regime change in Venezuela? Maduro seems to think so. So he's mobilized millions of the country's militias in response. Though if this strike is anything to go by, the Venezuelan narco-state might not be long for this world. What do you think? Should the U.S. keep up the strike on Venezuelan gangs? Leave your comments below. I do enjoy reading them. And before you go, be sure to check out this other episode of America Uncovered recommended by the algorithm. And as always, support America Uncovered and screw YouTube by subscribing to our new website, americauncovered.tv. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.